welcome back to another episode in this Power Rangers Build a Megazord. This is by Fanhome, or Italia if you're in France or somewhere in Europe. But anyway, we're fastly approaching the middle now, so we should be up to number 41 by the time we've finished this. I have got the next package on the way, so it should be here in the middle of this week, and hopefully next weekend I'll be able to get that together, put that video up as well. I've also got a haul of stuff coming at the end of the week as well. So if you're interested in seeing the bits that I've bought this month, stick around, because included in the haul of stuff, I will be doing a 5,000 subscribers giveaway. So anybody that's subscribed, thank you very much, massively appreciate it. But back to the Build a Megazord, I really hope you enjoy this. So if you do, please leave a like. And again, if you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. I will show you what we've got, because I have got my box of bits. So this is all the stuff that we've got so far, and I will just quickly show you where we're at with those. So firstly, we've got our Megazord head, which obviously transforms into the Tyrannosaurus Rex. We will be adding to this as well, so this will be the pterodactyl. This is from the first issues, or the second issue, but we've done nothing with this up until I think it's going to be around the late 30s anyway, so it's taken a long time just to get some added bits to that. We've also got our Mastodon head, various parts of our saber-toothed tiger, some hands for the T-Rex, obviously we'll be finishing that today as well, and finally our Triceratops head. So I've got my little screwdriver set, a little tube of glue just in case. So I'm going to show you really quickly what's going on in the magazines this month, then we'll move on to the build. Okay, so number 31 comes with some more of the arm. As I just said, it's just completes the T-Rex arm. It also comes with a little bio and some information about different episodes. I think this is a Nightmare episode or something like that. That's obviously what we're going to have at the end. 32, we're moving on to the chest of the Megazord, and then this week's person of the magazine or whatever is Ernie, so that's pretty cool. I always liked Ernie, he was fun. Starting with the body on number 33, we have this part. There's not a whole lot to that one apart from some electronics, and then we've got the Fang Monster bio there. Number 34, we're going to continue with the body, and then this is quite nice, tells you a little bit about Tommy and Kimberly's relationship there, so that's quite cute. Again, moving on with the body, there's a little story about the fans in there, so about people queuing to meet the Power Rangers in real life and all that sort of stuff, so that's quite interesting. Again, sticking with the body, and then we've got some about the cleanup club. This was quite an episode actually. We see Jason with the dragon shield there. And on number 7, we're sticking with more bodies, but moving on to the saber-toothed tiger. And then here we've got a couple of bits of information there. So we've just got a bit about the episode and what's going on with the monster in that episode. Personally, I don't read all these magazines. Maybe I will one day, I don't know. But the little binders, they just take up so much space, so they are going in a box at the moment. So I'm not really doing too much with them. This next one goes on to episodes 39 and 40, which kind of join together. And again, more saber-toothed tiger. So I'm really excited to finish some bodies out of this. It'd be nice to actually put some heads on something now. And as we move on to number 39, it does give us some more of the pterodactyl, so that's cool. I'm excited for that. Especially, as I said before, we haven't done anything too much with that. We're nearly there, number 40. So again, sticking with the pterodactyl, and this is quite interesting actually. It tells you a bit about the technologies and stuff that they use, so about the communicators and alpha. It shows loads of different bits in there, like the car and the little bits and bobs that we use for different episodes of season 1. And finally, we've got pterodactyl head, so that is really cool. This is number 41. Inside there we've got again more episode things and character bio. For the baddie in there is the Goofish. So lots to do today. Obviously it's going to take some time, so let's just get straight into it and start building our Megazord. Okay, so starting off with number 31, we're going to need our magazine, our bits, a little screwdriver set, and the rest of the T-Rex hand. So to start off with, we're going to need these. So again, we're going to want to make sure that they're the right way up, where the lines should be at the top. So it should face that way, and that just pops on over the top like so. Grab the other one and do the same. Next, we're going to want to grab these two pieces. So obviously we're looking for the square. That one just goes inside like that. Then we want to put washers and then a screw underneath each of these. This screwdriver is so handy. Obviously you can just push it in there and keep turning it. It's magnetic as well, so it's nice and easy to pick up your bits. So I just pour all my little screws in there. And then when I'm looking for something, I can just do this. So yeah, again, if you're in the UK, pound shop, £2 I think it was. Obviously nothing's a pound in there anymore, but so now we've done that, let's get rid of this, and we're going to attach this in. So that bit there should go inside here. Then we're going to attach the other side. And inside here, we're just going to put down a little black screw. Once that's all put down, we want to go back to the bits that we've got spare, and we are looking for this, and that's going to go inside the gap that we're left with in there. You should just push in. If you need some glue, you can do, but it doesn't seem to come out, so that one's fine. Right, moving on to number 32. We're not going to need any bits from last time, so we are just going to stick with this for now. And we're going to start by grabbing this along with this, and then we should be able to just slide it in. So we want to put these into there, leaving the top bit exposed. Okay, you should hear that click. So there's one. And then to get these in, you have to, I went from the outside, hooked those bits round, pushed that in, and they all stayed in nicely. So you can just slide it over just to make sure that it's in there properly. So there's that. Then we want to grab our smaller rod along with this and use the rod to connect these together. So we should be able to clip that underneath like so. Jiggle it around a little bit until the rod goes in. And if you need to, you can just push it down on the table just to close all that up together. Then we can put that inside there like so. And there's the opening for the front of the chest. So if we turn it round, we should be able to push that onto that like so, so it stays in place. And then we can put a little screw in there just to keep that down. Once we put the screw in there, there's another one at the top, so we want to add that. It should go this way around like so. I'm assuming that's some kind of clip, just to stop it going anywhere else. So I'm just going to put another one of them little black ones in there quickly. Okay, so now for our sensor, we're going to use this little hole here just to post a wire through. Now that's in, I'm going to put a couple of screws in there just to snug that down. Now that's on, we're just going to whack it all together. So we should be able to just put that in there like so. So we need our rod. I wouldn't recommend trying to do it like that because it just doesn't work. If you bring it down like this, it kind of lines up a bit better. You should be able to put your rod in. And it does say to put it in that way. So let's give that a try. Let's see how that goes. And there we go. Again, if you do struggle getting that in, just push the end that comes out against the table like that and it will go in, because that is pretty rough getting that in. Obviously I wouldn't want to break anything, but that is how it should be. Don't worry too much if it is a little bit loose. And we're going to move on to number 33. Right, and on to number 33. I believe we're still going to need that because we're going to connect all this together. So I'm just going to put it to one side for a minute while we take a look. For this next bit, we're also going to need the hands because we're going to start connecting those to the body. And of course, before you do anything, do test the battery. So if it gives you the opportunity to be able to test it without closing it all up first, obviously do that, because I've made a lot of mistakes of doing that and it is a pain in the bum. So we're going to connect these arms now anyway, so they should go on like that. Then again, we're going to use some washers and screws just to attach those on. And then obviously we're going to do the same for the other side. Right, then I suppose we should attach this. So we've got two little holes at the bottom here. They're going to go into these little holes here, and we're just going to use the black screws to tie them down. Make sure you keep that out so it doesn't go anywhere, and we should be good. Okay, so just make sure that's on the outside. It should close up like that. I want to make sure that that's free to move as well. And there's the start of our body as we move on to number 34. And here's number 34, so we want to keep that. We've got a little battery sorted for the next part, obviously more of our chest, so this does go on the back. You can see in there we've got our components, so we are going to make sure that we're going to test this battery works first, along with our guide for the journey. Okay, we're not actually going to attach this yet after looking at magazines, so I'm just going to move that out of the way for you so we can take a look. We're probably going to need our battery because we're going to want to connect all that. And let's get our bits out of the box. Right, not much to do on this one. All we're going to do is connect our little circuit board. So we want this to sit on like that. So we want to make sure that our charger is where the hole is. Put a couple of screws in there. Then once we put our screws in, let's stick our battery. So that should go that way like so, inside of there. And then we want to connect this into the bottom left here. Whilst we bring in this, and then we can plug that in. And this one goes next to the one that you've just used. So if you're holding it up with the battery in the side this way, it just goes in here. And that's it. So that's what we should be left with this magazine. There isn't anything more to do. So we're going to move on to number 35, where we will continue this. Okay, and this is what we get with number 35. So we're going to leave these bits out because all of this does attach together. So we are going to need these bits. And there is quite a lot to do, really, considering actually what you get in here, because it's not a lot. That is what you get underneath. But as I say, there's quite a bit to do where we put all this together. So we're going to start off by grabbing this, and it goes on the front just here. This is our sensor cover, and it should just clip in like that. Then we're going to grab these two pieces, so this one and the one that we just got, and it's going to cover our little window here, like so. And now we've tightened that down with a little black screw in here. We're going to just grab this, and it should go on the outside. So it's going to go inside there like that. And then we're going to use a couple of washers and screws to put these down. Once we finish that, we're going to attach our head on. So that is the back, so we want to leave that like that. And finally make some use of this that we've been sitting on a little while. And we're going to just put these little holes here into the top two. So it should sit on like that, and we'll be able to put some of these bigger black screws inside there. So I'm just going to figure that out off camera because it's going to be a bit of a pain to get into, and then I'll be back with that. Okay, now that's attached. We want to make sure that we keep all of our wires inside here so they're all facing down. We will be able to get to those in a minute. Then we're going to pop the front on, making sure that everything stays inside. That should go together like so. And then we're going to use the bottom red bit that we've got here just to keep all that together. So we're going to put that on like so and attach some screws at the bottom, and that should keep it all together nicely. And there we have it. It just shows you how big it is, the fact that we cannot fit it on camera right now. This should pop out, and we'll be able to put the T-Rex head inside there, close that back up, and then we've got our Megazord, which looks pretty cool. It should stay anyway. But there you go. So now we just need to attach all our components and get all that put together and make sure everything works. I'm not quite sure, to be honest, what this is actually powering, but I'm guessing it's just for the T-Rex head maybe, that you can actually turn it on and off, because you do have to put it down for the Megazord head. So obviously the Megazord head works, so I'm just going to assume that it's for the eyes on that. So anyway, sort that out and we'll have a look. I will show you what we're doing. So now we're going to go to the pane, which is the on and off button is going to go here. This little port here is going to be for our charger, and we're going to screw it all down. So these are our buttons that we're going to need. So I'm going to place them in and show you where we're at with that. Okay, so this is a little bit fiddly, but it's not too bad because you can lay it down. So we've got our button inside there, and then we've connected all our bits together. We do want to hold the power button just to ensure that everything works before we snug it all down, because it is a bit of a pain otherwise. Obviously you can see that it works there, so I'm just going to put some screws in so that it sits securely into the right position. So it's a little bit fiddly, but it's not too bad. Once you can get the button in straight and everything, it's okay. So here's our button on the back. It's a little bit rough to kind of push in and out, but I'm sure it's fine, which it is. And we can still put our head inside there and close that up for our Megazord. So we're halfway through on this video now. There's that done. And it looks like we're moving on to something else, so it'll be exciting to see what's coming up next. So now we're over the halfway mark. We're going to just continue with number 36. So I believe this is the last parts of doing the body for this, and then we move on to the saber-toothed tiger. So I'm just going to start adding some bits around the body just to fill it up. And to start with, I think we're going to need this one because it's got the bits at the top here, whereas that one's obviously got them at the bottom, or it goes the other way round. So we're going to attach that to our grey bit like that. Then if we turn our Megazord around to the other side, we'll be able to slide that on there. Then we want the detail facing out, this bit down here, and it should go on so there's that bit. Then we're going to put some screws just in here and here. So as we put the screws in, we want PB. They are the little tiny black ones. They're the most commonly used screws. So they look like this. That's what we're going to be using for most of this stuff. And finally, we just want to pop that on the back as well, so we can close up that little gap, and it should clip in there like so. So that looks pretty nice. It's all on there. I'm assuming we are going to do the same for the other side now. And this is what we have left. It does say if you want to transform it, you push something in the back there to release that, which yeah, you do. It just kind of bends it into shape, so you can see how this bit's just pushing forward slightly, and then you can unpop that, push that down inside once it fits, then just push that up, and obviously it'll be upright like so, and that's how I'm assuming it's gonna go. I don't know what happens with the claws, but I guess it will tell us later on. And these are what we're gonna need for number 37. So there's this. These are the parts that we got out of the previous one. Obviously that comes like that. I've just taken it off so you can have a look. And we're gonna start building some more of the saber-toothed tiger now. So we're also going to bring the head in because we need that. So this is what we've got. And to start with, we're going to want to grab this. Again, this was from the previous part. We're also going to want the little screws and stuff that came in the previous one as well, because we're going to need these little connectors here. So we're going to grab these two, one of the little connectors. That's going to very difficultly go inside here. Okay, it wasn't too bad. Then we're going to want one of our long screws and put a washer on there. And that's going to just go in the back of this and hopefully connect to the bit that we've just put in, and it should draw it in a little bit. So it does say to partly tighten, so if you find that you're kind of going around a little bit like that, wait till it goes a bit tighter. It should say about 2 screws, so around about there should be fine. And we're going to get our head and put that in there. So there's our movement on the head. Now we're going to grab these, and that's going to go inside that way round. This is probably going to be one of them things that you're going to have to push against a table to get that in. So I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to look in the end. Then we're going to attach this to this, so that will go in there. And we're going to put a small screw in there. Again, that's one of those little common PV ones. So it is a small black screw like this. So I've been trying to figure this out and go to this bit. I'm actually missing that part. So I have just emailed them and hopefully they'll be sending it out. I'm going to continue with the build because I can just pop it in later. Hopefully it does just kind of sit on the top really. So I'm going to carry on anyway. A little bit disappointing. I understand mistakes happen though, and it's not a huge deal. But obviously it's missing part of the detail in there. Why they bother even doing that, I don't know. They should have just had it on there already really, because you're not really benefiting any kind of build just by slotting something in there. Obviously just my opinion, but anyway, like I said, I will carry on. I'm just going to pop some screws in this bit here, so we want 4, and then that should close it up. And now that's all in there, we're going to just pop this little cover on there, and it should just stay on like so. If it doesn't stay on, you probably could use a bit of glue, but to be honest, it's on there fine, so I wouldn't even bother, to be honest. And next we're going to grab this and put it up this way. This little bit here is going to sit on there like so. So we do just slide that on, put a couple of screws in there. We should be good with that. And lastly, we're just going to sort this bit out so it goes that way inside like so. And then we're just going to need some of the silver screws with some washers just to go in there. There we have number 37, so that's another one done. We're moving on to 38 now, and we are getting close. 41 issues, lots of spare parts, but obviously we're missing that bit for the top there. Again, I have emailed them, so hopefully that'll come. But for now, we'll continue on to number 38. Right, so more yellow here. We're just going to sort these bits out, take a look. I'm assuming it's just going to be the other side of the body, which obviously it is. So let's crack on with that. Sometimes with these, I do wish I had a little bit more time because they're so time consuming. This does take me like a lot of the day to do this. And yeah, I don't always have the time, so it is difficult to do this, which is why, unfortunately, you guys do have to wait a little while for this. And I apologise for that, for anybody that follows this little series. But anyway, we're just going to screw this bit onto here, like so. It just takes a couple of little black screws. Not going to over tie it because it is plastic, so that would be silly to do that. Knowing my luck, it would definitely break. Okay, now we've done that, we want this and this. And again, if you do need to push it against something, you can, but that one fits in quite nicely, actually. It's probably the first one, to be honest. But anyway, we're gonna get this and this. And what we're gonna do is line up this with that. It's gonna take a little bit of jiggling because of the way that I've put it in. Hopefully it will go. If not, I will have to try and turn it around, but okay, then we're going to put that one inside here. If you do need to turn them around, you can, but they are a little bit of a pain. You may need to just pop it back out and adjust it there. This one you want coming out here, so I'm going to need to mess around with that a little bit, so I can just, I should be able to pull it out, turn it, and then push it back in. So there's that. Now we're going to get a little tray, which is here, and so it should just go up like that. So there you go. The little round bit there should be facing forward. Then I'm going to grab this bit, and it needs to go in there, and that's it. So that's what we should be left with, like so. I'm going to assume we're getting more bits for that coming out, so it should be spare. I'm going to chuck this and we're going to move on to the next one. Hey, that one is a little bit annoying because as we move on to number 39, it does start to give us the pterodactyl. Now I don't understand why they can't just let us close that bit, because now I've got lots of loose bits I've got to try not to lose. I'm already missing a part which hopefully they'll be able to send out separately. Anyway, moving on to number 39. Okay, so I was completely wrong with this. For some reason they are giving us this and some bits to be able to put it together. It makes no sense at all. So I'm going to re-grab those out and move my magazine. I'm glad that we can close this because that would really bug me that I'm going to risk losing some bits, which is obviously not the case, so I'm wrong. So Fanhome, my apologies, not that you're ever going to be watching any of my stuff. Let's close this bad boy up whilst we sort this out. This is nice mirrored die cast. It's feels nice quality. So anyway, just set that to the side so we don't break it. I'm going to undo all my little baggies. Okay, so first we're going to grab this and attach this the same we did on the last one. So we're going to need these thicker silver screws along with a washer. I'm going to quickly snug them down and be back in 2 seconds. So as I'm screwing these in, if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I had a couple of people message me the other day, as well as the odd comment on some of my videos, that are looking for stuff in particular, like looking how to put bits together and stuff like that. So I'm glad that it's helping some people put some stuff together. I know in the US they're not getting the magazines like we do, but you know, if it can help out somebody, then that's pretty cool. So let's attach this one together now. This should just pop on. We need to just work out which way it's going, which I'm assuming is this way, which it is. Nicely done. We're going to just put a couple of the small black screws in these two holes just to keep it together. And then we're going to put some in the top. Next, we're just going to put a couple in the top here as well to keep that together. Now I'm just going to pop the cover on the top, and that should be it for this one, if I can get it the right way around. And there we go. So you can see that it does turn into a foot or a saber-toothed tiger. So that's pretty cool. I am very happy with that. Now we're going to add some legs. So let's grab these and start thinking about putting them on. Again, we're going to want silver screws and washers, so hopefully we'll be able to get in there well enough to get them on, which should be okay. So I'm just going to start screwing them on and then I'll be back. The only downside to this, as you can see, is that this is a different color to these. I do believe they'd sent out replacements or something for that, but I never got one. But then I didn't ask for one either. It doesn't really bother me that much, but at least the face kind of matches. But that is die cast and this is plastic, so whether that makes any kind of difference, I have no idea. But anyway, let me put them on and I'll be back. And now I've screwed that on, I'm gonna also want to grab some extra bits that we've kept inside the bag. I do keep everything, so just in case, hopefully that will help me today. But yeah, so we're gonna just pop that on. It should hopefully just clip it in. So now I've got that in, I'm gonna just move that out the way so I can do the other side. So there we go. There is our saber-toothed tiger body. Obviously you can see that it will go into a foot, or it can sit in as a saber-toothed tiger itself. Plenty of articulation on it, as you can see, so that would be nice when that's got a few more. It's a little bit stiff, but it's okay. It's taken shape pretty nicely, and I'm happy with that. And now we're done with the saber-toothed tiger. We are actually done with the saber-toothed tiger this time. As we move on to number 40, so just this one and one more left. Okay, so using the bits that we had before. So this is from the first issue, so this is 1.3, and then this is the 3.9, which we just got from the saber-toothed tiger. We're gonna just pop that in there. On the back, we should have some screws that we're gonna put in there as well. So just here. Then from the box of new stuff, we wanna do the other side. So same again. A little screw in here and in here on this one. Obviously I need to put a screw in there, which I didn't notice before. So I'm just gonna do that as well as the other ones. Now they're in, looking all nice and shiny. We just want to put our last piece in like so. Obviously we're going to have to tighten those down with some screws as well. So we're just going to put them in these four here and then finish that bit off. So next we want this one. It's just going to hook over the top like so. So that should slide in like that and clip in. And then we're going to do the same for the other side. This is telling us not to put screws in, actually. It hasn't given us any for this, so I'm assuming they come in the next package. But that's what we're going to be left with anyway, so that bit's all finished now, and there it is. Okay, and the last one for this episode, we're on number 41. Within the next sort of week and a little bit, we will be continuing the rest of this and be able to get up to probably about number 50, but for now we're going to just stick with this. So for this next bit we're going to need this one as well as this one, our little bags of screws. So this is going to be a little bit more fiddly, I think, so we need to get that to be sat on there like that. Okay, so we're going to line that up to fit on here, which makes a lot more sense than what I was originally going to do. So there we go, you push that bit in there. Then we're going to want to attach this which is saying it's going to go in here like that. And we're going to just put 2 screws in here. Okay, now that's on, we're going to grab this little red bit, and he's going to go in here. So maybe that will close that down. Yes, it does. Now we're going to set that aside and start on the head. So firstly, we want this one and our electronics, which are underneath our little head. And that is going to go in here. So now that's in, we're going to set that aside, sort out the eyes. So we're just going to break these off of here. Have a little light to our pterodactyl. Okay, so I think that one goes in that side like that. Yes, it does. And then, it's very tight getting those in there because it's so narrow. Okay, it's in. We're in. So there we've got some eyeballs. Eyebally bullies. Okay, and we're going to turn this around, put that in there, so that should keep it all down together. Hopefully we won't have some eyes falling out. And if they do, we're going to have to take it off and put it back. But hopefully it won't. So, okay, so I've just had to undo all that and pop this bit out because I completely forgot that we would need that. Just so you're aware, this isn't a guide necessarily of like a how-to. This is me sharing my experiences where obviously I'm going to make mistakes along the way and whatever. It's just natural to do that. So apologies if you are using it as a bit of a guide and it does go wrong. But again, this is just my experience of building this little Megazord. So hopefully you find it helpful. And if you don't, then thank you very much for watching anyway. We want this part here and that longer bit's just going to go in the top, short one inside there. Okay, so another mistake from me after battling to get that little pin in there. We're going to have to thread this through here. So you can see there is some little gaps and stuff, so we need to work out what's going to go where. So that should go up like that. So when it's on there, we want to feed that inside here. And then it should go out the top. Okay, now I've got that the right way, which took me probably about 4 attempts. I've got that bit the wrong way, and then I've got that bit the wrong way, and then I swapped them around, and it was the other bit the wrong way. But anyway, it all fits in nicely now. It does just pop over this, and then that's it for that one. So that is the last bit. That is what we've got. Again, some loose bits we could do with just screwing them down. I would be safe to assume that we need a certain screw in there, but I don't want to mess anything up any more than I already have. But yeah, pretty cool. That one's done now. So I'm going to switch it back around. We'll have a little look what we've got so far. Okay, so that is it. Up to number 41 now. I did forget to show you this earlier. This was the free gift that came with it, so I'll just show you that quickly. It did come with part of the stand as well, so obviously more towards the end when I've got a few more bits, I'll incorporate that into another video and do like a transformation. But it did come with this little power bank, whatever you want to call it, like wireless charger, whatever. Come with a little lead. Nice little Power Ranger logo on the front with some copyright on the back. But yeah, that's cool. I'll probably stick that in my backpack for work or something and take it for an emergency. So yeah, I'm happy with that. That was quite cool. It did come missing some instructions for the stand. It's meant to come in the next one, so I wouldn't have been able to have done that anyway, but I do want to do all that together and just get it done. I may or may not include it in a video somewhere towards the end, but obviously for now it won't be something I want to be filling this video with just because these take so long anyway. But let's show you where we are for the rest of it at the moment anyway, before I go and eat my lunch. We have got the pterodactyl, so you can see that the wings are probably going to be pretty big. Obviously I've seen some of these fully finished, but this is my experience with it. This was probably the worst thing to put together, and I don't know whether it was just me kind of getting to that point where I'd had enough of reading instructions and screwing it all together in one go. So that was pretty difficult. We did move on to our T-Rex. which is pretty cool. We also started some more of our saber-toothed tiger, so we've got some nice bit of the body done there. And no movement on these, but I'm assuming they will come in the next package and we'll end up doing the bodies for them. Apparently the body for this is a pain in the bum, so hopefully this one's a little bit easier, or it goes okay anyway. I may spread it over a couple of days and then just edit all into one video anyway. But yes, I'm excited to finish off more of these. Hopefully when we get those two bodies done for the Triceratops and the Mammoth, we'll be able to start getting the back ends of these. It'd be quite cool to see this one take shape. I really like that. This one's pretty cool as well, actually. It's surprising how big they are. I did expect them to be pretty big, but when you've actually got half of this in hand, it does actually show you how big it is. But anyway, hope your builds are all coming along very nicely. I am enjoying this, and I will continue to be putting out the videos for those who are interested in those. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. And if you are enjoying these videos, please leave a like. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and let me know how well your builds are going. Stay tuned for my monthly haul, where I'm going to be showing off all the bits that I've picked up this month, including the details of the giveaway. So that giveaway will be included in there with a brand new figure to put directly on your shelf. It will include shipping and paying for the figure, and I'll chuck some other little bits in there as well for you. So a nice 5k subscriber giveaway. So keep an eye out for that video coming very, very soon to get involved with the giveaway. But thank you very much for watching and supporting my channel. I'll catch you guys next time for the next part of the build. Bye!